Welcome to Tech News Briefing. It's Thursday, June 1st. I'm Zoe Thomas for the Wall Street Journal. Some Facebook content moderators in Africa are suing the social media giant and the contractor that hired them over worker exploitation and unfair termination. In legal filings, workers claim that reviewing graphic content, including some that contained violence and sexual assault, led to depression, PTSD, and anxiety. The contractor, California-based Sama, denies the allegations and says it supported workers. Facebook parent Meta declined to comment on the litigation. 3 separate lawsuits in Kenya are casting a fresh spotlight on the tech industry's far-flung outsourced workforce. To discuss this is our South Africa-based business reporter, Alexandra Wexler. Alex, there are 3 cases here, but I want to start by talking about the one focusing on the health effects faced by Facebook content moderators. Can you tell us a bit more about what these moderators did and how they claimed they were impacted by that experience?
Yes. So the content moderators involved in one of these lawsuits, there are 184 of them. And basically, they say that they've suffered severe psychological trauma. In some cases, that's led to physical illness, things from depression to PTSD to anxiety, because of having to look at this really extreme content, including things like child pornography, rape, beheadings, suicides, to basically make sure that the rest of us don't see that kind of content on Facebook.
How has the contractor Sama responded to their claims?
So Sama says that their working environment that they provided for the content moderators was world class. They had a lot of benefits, things like paid parental leave, vacation, healthcare, access to counselors. The moderators had unlimited what they call wellness breaks. If they needed to get up, walk around, sort of shake off what they were looking at. And the moderators are saying that this was not as nice a working environment as Sama claims, that the counselors were unprofessional, including things like not observing confidentiality, that they weren't psychiatrists or psychologists, weren't trained to deal with this kind of level of trauma.
The content that they were looking at was for Facebook. Has Facebook parent Meta responded to this case?
So Meta has declined to comment on the ongoing litigation, but they are arguing in the Kenyan courts that their Kenyan courts don't have any jurisdiction because Meta says that they don't have any offices or any employees in the country directly. They've outsourced all of this work. And the Kenyan courts have preliminarily ruled that they do have jurisdiction, and Meta has appealed that ruling.
What could the implications be if Meta is included in this lawsuit?
A lot of these companies, from Meta to TikTok to other social media giants, outsource a lot of this content moderation into different parts of the world, especially because different parts of the world obviously speak different languages. And so it's very helpful to have local people who understand local social context and local languages moderating that content. So it could open up big tech companies to a whole host of similar suits in other countries, in theory.
What about the implications for Kenya, which has tried to present itself as an outsourcing hub for tech companies?
It could spell actually quite a bit of trouble for Kenya because Kenya is, as you said, trying to promote itself as a destination for a lot of this tech outsourcing work. So not just content moderation, but work like data annotation, teaching AI systems how to recognize images, recordings. So obviously, if Kenya rules that Meta is responsible for the work that its outsourcers are doing in Kenya, that could definitely have a knock-on effect on companies sort of shrinking their workforce in Kenya.
What about the other 2 cases? What do they focus on?
Yes. So the first case is Daniel Motong, and he was a content moderator who, a few months after Sama started doing content moderation work for Facebook, he tried to organize around 150 of the moderators to protest working conditions as well as ask for better pay. And he claims that he was fired for attempting to form a union.
We should note that Sama says he was fired for causes unrelated to his attempts to unionize and that the company would have worked with a union had one formed. Okay, so tell us about the second case.
So the second case has been filed against just Meta, not Sama, in Kenya's High Court. That was back in December. And that lawsuit was brought by, among other people, the son of an Ethiopian professor who was shot and killed in November 2021 after posts about him, which were allegedly untrue, went viral on Facebook. And the lawsuit is basically claiming that the content moderation taking place in Kenya, which is the reason why the suit has been filed in Kenya, wasn't adequate enough to stop this hate speech. And so that lawsuit is seeking the creation of a victims fund for not just these people who filed the lawsuit, but for anyone who's been affected by similar situations on Facebook in sub-Saharan Africa.
Alex, Facebook did say in a statement that hate speech is not allowed on its platform and that it employs staff with local knowledge and expertise to help find and remove such content. But I'm curious what other big tech companies, beyond Meta, will be watching for in these cases.
Yeah, I think other big tech companies will be watching for how the Kenyan courts handle these cases, the kind of liability that Facebook faces, so they can make decisions about how they're going to handle content moderation and the outsourcing of work like that going forward.
All right, that was our South Africa-based business reporter, Alexandra Wexler. And that's it for today's Tech News Briefing. For more tech stories, head over to our website, WSJ.com. I'm Zoe Thomas for the Wall Street Journal. Thanks for listening.